Okay, so we're going to start our notes for Genesis 27 to 28. Um, these are pretty simple. Like I said, you want to get these names that are mentioned: Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They're going to be mentioned over and over and over again through all the scripture, because this all starts to all the promises and covenants that God made. That kind of man, all of man, a lot of man's. How would I say it? Mm, a lot of our statutes, our virtues, a lot of the things that should define who we are as a person, as a people, will be in these books, and I mean, will be in these names, in the things they did. They'll be referred back to them, because this is where the tribes came from. So it's very important to get these down. And then, so we have that Jacob steal Esau's birthright, and we have the two brothers that were born, of course, as rivals since day one. And here we go again, with all this that happened. And you know what's funny is, not funny, but everybody knows that Rebecca, Abraham, and everybody, and none of the prophets never were ever not sinners. They were all flesh. In the Holy Scriptures written, we all sin and fall short from the glory of God. And true story, we know for ourselves what we are made of and what we do. So we know that we're sinners. And so that's something we can't deny. And we have, Rebecca lied to Esau and Jacob lied to Esau. And these are prophets. These are people that are talked about for the rest of our lifetime. And Jacob lied to his father, and he said, I'm Esau, and he fooled him. He did this big old trick. But, God had already told Rebecca when she was pregnant, when they were fighting, like, why is this going on? And she said, your younger son's going to rule over your older son. These, again, were things that God had already told them. So I'm sure that's why Abraham was asking him, are you sure? Are you sure you're Esau? Are you sure you're Esau? Because, I mean, he knew what was said already. And so he questioned it, and he made sure. And he went over a couple things before he made sure. How many times did he ask? I think he had like 4 or 5 times. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? But yeah, we got the blessing. And when Abraham said, wait till I finish eating, I'm going to give you the blessing in the Lord's presence. So when you make a covenant with God or an oath, it stands. So Abraham said, when Esau came in and he got upset, he's like, give me a blessing, give me. He's like, I can't. And he's like, I already gave the blessing to your brother, and the blessing stands. I mean, it can't change. And God had already set things up to be that way. But it's hard for us to understand sometimes why things have to be that way. And I know it was hard for Esau to understand that at the time. And he went through a lot, but God still prospered them both, and Esau was still being a good child, and he still decided to, marry a woman in his family, not one of the local women, Hittite women. Okay, then we have, all right, that, and then Isaac, and he kissed him and blessed him, and then we go to Genesis 28, where we have where Isaac blesses his son again, and he sends him off. But then when he has a dream, and the dream that's another thing I'll tell you. The dream world is something else that the Lord brings you into. That's a whole nother world. I didn't remember I was going to be reading this today. I might have looked over it yesterday, but I don't remember at all. I was in a whole other state yesterday. So my dream last night was a little bit, it was just a little bit more than I expected. But dreams are significant. Not all of us have them, and all of us should be able to have them, but it does take some spiritual strength. So definitely something to work on. It's just not, it's not easy. And it's obedience that does it. I was moving this past 2-3 weeks, and I was doing a lot of moving and things, and my body was in a lot of pain. And then when I went overseas for my visit to the country, my body reacted in a way that I did not expect for it to. I got really swollen. I mean, my hands and my feet, everything was way, way, way more. I got really sick while I was gone. I mean, I couldn't go to any doctors there, so I kind of had to suck it up. But my dreams were affected. But anyways, I couldn't take medicine there because I didn't have medicine there, because I just was not going to go through the extra drama of taking medicine overseas. But when I got back, I got on my meds, which I don't like to. If anybody knows me, I do not like taking medicine. It's one of the things that, because it affects my dreams. So, but I just didn't care. I was in so much pain, and I had to move. My body was hurting. Anyways, I took the meds, and then I know myself. I don't like meds. And then I tell God one night, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to take any medication. Yes, I'm pain. Yes, I'm stupid, but I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to go to sleep because I'm tired and I don't just want to do that. I hadn't had dreams and I was sick too. And I didn't take medicines that night and my dreams came back. I dreamed all night. I dreamed all night. And actually I felt better the next day, which, I mean, it's amazing, or it's just like, maybe it just had something to do with the medicine. No, medicine's always been there. I've always taken it. Never had that effect on me. It's different, but hey, everybody has to have their own living testimony to go through to understand these words. They're not, my story is not going to be your story. The things that, like I said many times, whatever gives you peace, not going to give me peace. But yes, just like, Jacob's had this dream of a stairway from heaven coming up and the angels coming up and down was something that he needed to see. And he needed that strength because he was away from home. Who doesn't miss their home? And God told him, this place you're laying at, this is your place. I'm going to give it to wherever you go. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to take care of you. He knew he was going to need that strength. He was on his own. Who does it? Who's used to being at home all the time and all of a sudden you're kicked out on the street and you have to kind of just live without your mother or your father? Your father's about to die and your mother's at home and, just kind of left in a hurry. That would hurt anybody. A lot of people have went through those things. We have to leave our families behind, and it's funny, but in my conversation, in my dream last night, I can't exactly even say it was a conversation. It was like I woke up from a conversation that I was having in a different place, and I was talking to God, and I was like, okay, so I'm gonna leave my family, leave my kids behind, and everything. But I understood that. I understood why we were having that conversation. It's not something I had to do. It's funny because I had to read about this today, but not funny, but just it's nice. But it's true. There's a lot of things we have to leave behind that we don't want to. But before I slept last night, I prayed to God. There's a lot of things I'm uncomfortable with and everything, but my heart, who I am, and my will, and it's nothing selfish. So, if there's anything that I need to leave behind, I'm not leaving anything behind. I'm leaving it in your hands, which is totally different than you saying in your worldly flesh, oh, I'm mad or I'm leaving or my brother's going to kill me, so I'm going to be afraid I'm going to leave. No, this is different. He left knowing that these promises were already made to him. He left and God appeared to him in a dream and gave him that reassurance that things were going to be okay. And we need that sometimes. So if you don't have a strong spiritual life, the reason I really highly suggest you get one is because it's something that carries you through things that are to come, that you're going to face. And we all need that extra knowing that there is someone there taking care of us and that his promises will be fulfilled. And so when we get to the chapter, when it says 28:14, it says, your descendants will be as numerous as the dust of the earth, and I will spread them out in all directions, east, west, north, and south, and the families on the earth will be blessed to you and your descendants. And if you take this to the flipping that I do, add the numbers together, then flip them over, go, and then read the numbers back out, we will be, and then go to Revelations. We'll go to Revelations 5:10. Revelations 5:10 says, and I will cause them to become a kingdom of priests and gods, and they will reign on the earth. And that is exactly the same promise that God was given to Jacob. He might not specifically say kings, but they said the ruler of all the nations. I don't know what else you would call that, but kings. But, people will try to just argue about anything possible. But it's there and it's written, and this was easy. It was 28:15. This was verse 28:15. Well, if I got to 5:10, that means it would have to be 14. And then 2:8 added. Yeah, so it was 28:14. That's at that. So if you want to do the flip reference to Revelations. And I know there's more in Job and a lot more things that I've seen. But the depth of it is so much. It's like I didn't want to go into those details. It's something more personal for myself. I'll share it later. In another way, it'll manifest itself. And that's the thing. That's the thing about Christ. When Jesus Christ is the image of life of God, it manifests himself. It becomes part of something that you see that you cannot afford to take care of. It's like a overflow. Like when the locust came in and ate up everything and took up everything. That's what it does. It consumes you. You cannot even escape from it. You can't go any other way but into being, accepting it and letting it be what it is, because that's what it does. I was young when the Lord first came to me, and there's a lot of things that were in my dreams. There are a lot of things I wasn't ready for, and I was like, no. I kind of tried to run from it, do everything else possible. I didn't know what it was. I was scared actually. Um, I was going crazy, but it's not what it was. It was just the mind was going to be open to a bigger world, and he prepared me slowly but surely. It's been years now, but I'm not afraid anymore. It's just something that I can't live without. I heard somebody say something like that about a renounced atheist, and they asked him, what do you feel about your Christianity before? Ravi Zacharias had it was in his last message on Saturday, which I usually listen to, and he said, what do you basically what do you say now? Because before, he was a priest and all that stuff, really, really close to God. He's like, what do you say now? He said, what do you say about Jesus? And he says, I miss him. And just hearing those words, I've thought that over and over again in my days, in my life, is like, I could live without everything. My family, and I don't mean, I love my family. They're my everything. But I'll miss them. If I had to make the choice, I'd pick Christ, because that's the only thing that would give me this peace. I've lost my first child, and I know the difference between that pain of losing her and the pain of being alone without Christ. I know those two things are separate. They're not the same pain. But this is what God does in all the bad situations. Anything bad that we've been through, He gets that past pain that you've been through. Or let's say Christ. I said I would leave my family or whatever. I don't want to lose Christ. But He's not making me do that. He's not making me leave my family behind. He instead brought me to Him, where I have Him, and I don't have to let Him go. And my baby is added to the heaven that is waiting for me. And I know a lot of people, and even, I know it's so. But if it wasn't, for argument's sake, people love to argue about things. And to say, well, that's why you're so hung up and stuff like that. No. I've seen other things. I've seen through her death, she's already brought life, just from the area that she's buried at to where my business got started at, to my children's friends, to the changes and the influences and the things we've made. Just every single step of our lives have been directed in that path from her loss. He restored the loss by restoring others, and all going to the same place. They all have one destination. And even if afterlife wasn't promised, that would have been enough. You don't realize that this life, we get to be body, soul, and spirit. We won't get that in the afterlife. There's a lot of things in this life that are so amazing, and you're going to miss out on them if you don't get to use them for the full glory that God allows you to have and gives you and wants to give you in this life. There is no other lifetime that's going to be greater than ours. That is greater than ours. We're saved, and we have a future life for salvation, and we have this current life where we can make spiritual changes and things happen. And then we have our friends and family that we can share them with. And I don't believe we'll get that chance again. It won't be the same as it will be now. It'll be better, but not the same. We won't know the difference. And I think that's what you fail to realize. Don't fail to realize that if you don't know the difference, if you're not going to know the difference between money, gold, cars, or whatever, because pain won't be there. Think about, okay, no pain, no hurt, no crying, no tears. And add that to what you miss. It's not going to be there. It's not going to be there the same. Then you won't even know the difference. So you only got this life. You have to use it. You have to make it count. Don't waste it. All right. God bless. And I'll be back to your best. All right. Take care. Bye.